loved the church, the way Paul's talking about there, is he saw himself as one flesh with the people. He didn't see himself as a different flesh, right? He saw himself as one body. And so what we tend to do when we look at our spouses is see them as separate people. And if you notice, society has gone to great lengths to talk about the individuals in the marriage. And you even see, listen, you see people boast. Paul talked about supposing themselves to be wise, they profess themselves to be wise, but they reveal their foolishness. You even see people boasting about how great their marriage is because they're individuals. Right? As if that's the way it should be. Right? Listen, that's the recipe for disaster down the road. It's either the recipe for a non-marriage or a divorced marriage. Right? The thing that allows people to love each other the way Christ loved the church is for them to see themselves as one flesh. I mean, how much do you love your arm when your arm's broken? Are you busy hating your arm because your arm's broken? Are you thinking you want to cut your arm off when your arm is bringing you pain? You're not busy thinking like that, are you? Why? Because that's your arm. I mean, you're one with your arm. You're busy thinking, how can we save this arm? This arm needs a resurrection, right? Well, when you see your spouse as one flesh like that, you begin to think of things that way. Instead of thinking of, my spouse is causing me pain, let me now get rid of them. Let me sever them. Do you see what I'm saying? And this isn't to cause any of the shame. It's to reveal the dynamic of the two perspectives. There's not something wrong with you if you've thought that way, because the mind that says you're separate will always give birth to that way of thinking. It's impossible for that way of thinking not to be born in you. That's what it will result in. Right? But when you think of it as one flesh, the two shall become what? One flesh. Right? When you start to find that born in you, that revelation born in you, you don't despise the part of you when it's broken or when it's causing pain. Right? Because you're thinking of it as one with you, part of you. Right? Instead of, let me get rid of it. Does everybody understand that dynamic with marriage? The world would want to destroy marriage. One of the ways it would destroy it is by giving birth to this mind of we're individuals. Right? Does everybody see that dynamic? That doesn't mean you both can't have different hobbies. It doesn't mean one of you might like to play golf and one of you might like to fish. I'm not talking about that. Right? I'm talking about where we're busy trying to think of ourselves as separate. Right? And not thinking of ourselves as one flesh. Christ never saw himself as separate from us. He came and saw us as one, right? And because of that, he ministered to us in a certain way. His heart was filled with love towards us when he saw we were broken. When he saw that we were so broken that we were causing and inflicting hurt on him, he thought of his own flesh hurting, right? You know how he's nailed to a tree? What do you think he'd be thinking about his own body there as he's nailed to a tree? Was he thinking that he needed to get rid of the body? Or was he thinking that he needed the body to be healed and to be resurrected unto life? Right? Because he's one with them. That's the same thing you'd have been thinking about those people. Because he saw himself as one with those people. Right? I'm the Son of Man, they're the Son of Man. And so when he saw these people and death manifesting in them, so much so that they're bringing death to him, he didn't see themselves as separate. He saw, this is my flesh. Flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. Right? And so he wouldn't think of it as, let's get rid of them. He would think of it as, let's heal them. Let our body be healed. Right? Do you see how it just gives birth to that way of thinking in you? Right? No man despises their own arm, their own leg, their own foot, any of that. And this isn't to say go and judge yourself by how you get it right sometimes. Listen, there's some times where I'm having a bad day, and I can be an ass to my wife. And in that moment, I'm not busy thinking of her as one flesh with me. I'm busy thinking of something else, right? But as I walk on, I find myself fellowshipping with the truth and thinking about how we're one flesh, right? Would I despise my arm? No. And I just find my thought process coming back into line. And I find it bringing reconciliation in my heart quicker. So this isn't about, let's get to the place where we never get it wrong. This isn't about how we're going to judge ourselves based on whether or not we think we're getting this right. But it's so that we can see the mind of the Spirit. so that we can have fellowship with that mind and we can find our thoughts reconciled to the truth when we encounter those kinds of things. Right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Does everybody understand that?